Good morning, everyone. First of all, I wanted to say thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to represent the Rose Slope program and tell you all about it. As you mentioned, my name is Sara Novell. I'm a fifth-year mechanical engineering major here at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and I am studying a BS-MS. I'm doing the 4+1 bachelor's master's program in mechanical engineering there. I'm also joined here by my friend Sydney Strong, who's the decorations chair for Cal Poly Rose Slope as well. So, show of hands, how many people watched at least the Cal Poly section of the parade this year? Woohoo! Awesome. As you know, each year Cal Poly Universities, which includes both Pomona and San Luis Obispo, builds a float for the Tournament of Roses parade on New Year's Day. I'm here to talk a little bit about what you don't see on TV. So we always say that building a float is a 14-month process, and that's because we're taking apart the old float as we're designing the new float. That's the stage we are actually in right now. We are in the process of taking apart our far-out frequencies and designing our new float for the 2020 parade. By May, the float will be completely designed, and from there, we start to build. Throughout the summer, because we're all students, we're off during the summer, we have lab days to shape metal, plant flowers, weld, and work on some of our innovative moving mechanisms that go on the float. Once fall starts and school begins, the intensity really starts to pick up. Starting in mid-October, the slow half of the float moves down to Pomona because that's much closer to Pasadena where the parade is. And the slow half of the float gets driven down on a semi-truck. And we start building it as a unified team of Pomona and San Luis Obispo. This does mean that the San Luis Obispo team drives down to Pomona every morning for 4 hours down and then 4 hours back. This sounds like a lot, and that's because it is. Our days usually roll from 6 a.m. leaving to getting back to San Luis Obispo around midnight every Saturday during the fall. But we all love it so much, and as you start to do the drive more and more, it's a labor of love, and you don't really feel the hours as much. So even though we are all full-time students, we are held to the same standards as all the other professional float builders. But that means we aren't afraid to push the envelope. We always bring something new to the parade, and that's why the Tournament of Roses keeps inviting us back every year. But as a result of that, we put in a lot of time into our float to make sure it's safe, beautiful, and unique. Once our finals end in mid-December, we have almost 2 straight weeks of lab days until almost Christmas Eve to get the ready float for flowers. From December 26th to 31st, because we have many living flowers on our float the day of the parade, we start putting on the flowers and other organic botanical material onto our float. This crazy week of organizing flowers and volunteers, flower deliveries, and people is all organized by Sydney Strong and her counterpart at Pomona. And since we have these living flowers on the float, a lot of them will go into vials, which are like mini vases that get stuck into the float. In case you didn't see it, our float had an out-of-this-world theme with astronauts and aliens, and we wanted the floral and fauna on the float to represent this as well. So we had all sorts of unique materials that we had never put on our float before. This year we had over 10,000 mums, 7,000 roses, 300 protea, over 7,200 gerbera daisies, over 100 anthuriums, and even 250 cabbages on our float. We even decorated with tomatillos and onions on the aliens, as well as Himalayan pink sea salt, the stuff you cook with, on geodes on the float to get a beautiful pink color. All of our work paid off this year, and we won an amazing award for the first time ever in our 71 years of float building. We won the Extraordinaire Award for being the most extraordinary float in the parade. Thank you. We were so shocked and excited to win this award, and it was just so amazing to represent Cal Poly universities to the world in a way that the Rose Parade provides. It was so amazing and such a great feeling, and I'm so happy to share it with all of you. Thank you so much for letting me tell you a little bit about the Cal Poly Rose Slope program, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.